In this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know to build engaging pop-ups with Elementor Pro. You'll find all the chapters in the description box below. Elementor Pop-up Builder is super powerful, and you can use it in many different scenarios. But there are two main areas where it is perfect. Drive traffic to specific content, like a new product, a special offer, or a new blog post, and collect leads. As I will show you in this video, with Elementor Popup Builder, you can create any kind of design and insert whatever you want inside your pop-ups. As we will see, you can even add animations, countdown timers, opt-in or contact forms, you name it. Then, after deciding the exact appearance and positioning of the pop-up on the page, you can use the display conditions, the triggers, and the advanced rules to choose exactly where, when, to who, and how many times your pop-ups will be displayed on your website. Here are some cool examples. Trigger your pop-up with any element on the page, a button, an image, or even an entire section. Trigger your pop-up on exit intent, when a visitor is about to exit or close your website tab. Automatically display a pop-up only during a specific date range. These are just a few examples, but they are already pretty powerful, right? So in this video, we will see a full tutorial of the Elementor Pop-up Builder. We will create together a pop-up from scratch. We will first see all the pop-up settings, then we will design and structure the layout of your pop-up, and then we will go and explore all the different display conditions, triggers, and advanced rules. Nothing will be left uncovered. And if I forgot something, you can always drop me a line in the comment section below. At the end of this video, you will master Elementor pop-ups like a pro. And that's not all. I will provide you some free templates that you can download and use to create your own pop-ups, along with other free resources that you will find directly in my link in the description box below, wproads.com/elepopup. Before getting started, I want to share with you two important errors to avoid when you use Elementor pop-ups. First thing to avoid, do not use Elementor Pop-up Builder to create a pop-up mobile menu. If you want to do so, you can use the new off-canvas widget, which is created exactly for that. I have a full tutorial about this topic, and I will leave it to you in the description box below. Second very important thing to avoid, do not use Elementor pop-ups to create your cookie banner. Otherwise, your website won't be compliant. In fact, a professional cookie banner should block your website cookies and collect consent of your visitors, and should also have several other functionalities to make your website compliant with data regulations worldwide. Speaking about cookie banners, I want to spend 60 seconds illustrating to you a perfect solution to make your WordPress website compliant. And it is the one that I personally use, Cookiebot by Usercentrics, which is also sponsoring this video. And if you're wondering if your website actually needs a cookie banner, well, the quick answer is most probably yes. The moment you embed a YouTube video, use Google Analytics, load third-party fonts, you're already placing cookies on your visitors' devices. So you will need a proper cookie consent solution. This is exactly what Cookiebot does. It automatically scans your website, finds every cookie and tracker, and blocks them until the user gives permission. Cookiebot will help you keep your website compliant with GDPR and many more worldwide regulations. It will integrate perfectly with your WordPress website thanks to a dedicated plugin, and it even supports Google Consent Mode and Microsoft UET out of the box. You can customize your cookie banner, adding your logo, your colors, and making it easy for your visitors to select their preferences. You can head to my affiliate link in the description box below. There is a free version that you can use if you have a small website, and if you have a bigger website and you want to access all the premium features, there is a 14 days free trial, and pricing starts at $8 per month. I'm also preparing a full tutorial and review about Cookiebot, so make sure to check the link in the description box below. Alright, now let's get back to our Elementor Pop-up Builder tutorial. And now my daughter has a little favor to ask you.
Please subscribe to my daddy channel.
If you click on the subscribe button, you will be part of the small community of people that are watching my videos and are also subscribed. Congratulations! Now on your Elementor website, you can head to Templates and Pop-ups to create a new pop-up. Or if you prefer, you can type Command-E or Control-E and type Add New Pop-up. And there we are. There is a simple shortcut. In my case, I will go on Templates, Pop-ups, and I will go here and click on Add New Template. Here I can select the name of my pop-up, which will be just Pop-up Tutorial. Let's create a template. You can change the name at any time in the pop-up settings. And here, Elementor will provide you with a list of pop-ups that you can use to start with. I personally do not like starting from these because I love to start from scratch. So I click on the X icon here, and this is the screen where I can create my pop-up. As you can see here on the top left settings, this is the settings of my pop-up. I have this part here that will let me control the layout. In the general settings, I can change the title of my pop-up, which is by the way only used for internal purposes. And then I can also use preview settings in the eventuality that I want to use some dynamic content inside my pop-up and I want to preview it here. Alright, I can go then on style and I can use some personalized styling for my pop-up, including border radius, overlay and close button styles. We will see all this in the next steps. And then I have the advanced tab that is very important because here we can manage a lot of different things and behaviors of our pop-up. We will see also this in the next steps. If you need to open up the structure, you see that there is this panel here that you can trigger and you can decide to detach it or to leave it like this. Now let's head to the pop-up settings and let's start customizing our pop-up. The first settings part is all about layout. Here you can change the width, for example, and by default it's 640 pixels. You can switch between pixels, EM, RAM, viewport width, and also custom values. In this case, I will use pixels, but keep in mind that if you want your pop-up, for example, to be full width, you can use viewport width, and you can place this to 100%. As you can see, it will occupy all the space that is available in the width of the screen. Let's make it back to pixels now, and I will go 640 because I like this width. Alright. Here I can change the height, I can fit to content, basically this will adapt based on the content that will be inside the pop-up. Then you can fit this to screen, so it will occupy all the space available on the screen, or you can make it custom. I will keep it fit to content, and I will change the position here. Look, if I want, I can place it here, I can place it here, here. Basically, I can place the pop-up wherever I want into the page. Now I will keep it to the center. I can decide if I want to display or not an overlay, basically the color that will hide the rest of the page when the pop-up is active, and this is very useful, so in my case I will keep it enabled. But for some type of pop-ups, like the one that you see down here, this banner, it is also cool to disable completely the overlay. So up to you, depending on the type of pop-up that you're building. You can also decide to display or not the close button, and this is cool because if you want, you can also make the people close the pop-up not using the X icon here, but customizing your close button. For example, using a text like "No thank you, I'm not interested." I will show you how to do this in the next steps. For now, let's keep it active. We then here have an entrance animation and an exit animation. Be careful here not to use them too much. The best ones are the fading ones, all the others are a little bit weird and outdated. But feel free to use the one that you want. In my case, I will use fade in up as an entrance animation and fade out down as an exit animation. The animation duration should be, around between 0.3 and 0.5, it's okay. I will keep it at 0.3. Then we have the general settings that you already saw and the preview settings. As I was mentioning, the preview settings are powerful if you are using some dynamic content inside your pop-ups, for example, WooCommerce products or blog posts. Now let's go to the Style tab. Here you can control everything about styling your pop-up. For example, we can change the background. In my case, I love to use a gradient to make a subtle effect and to grab the attention on the center of the pop-up. Let me show you what I mean here. As a primary color, I will use a global white color, this one, and as a secondary color, I can use whatever color I want, but in my case, I will use a gray one, or even this one. Alright, then I will go and place the first location to 55 or 50. I don't know why I said 55, anyway, 50 is okay. And then I will place it to be not linear, but radial. Oh, really love this one. Now the problem is that the second color is a little bit too much, so I will change it to be this one. All right. It's a subtle gray, and as you can see, it seems like there is a light in the center of the pop-up. I really like this effect. If you want, you can also change the positioning of the radial effect. For example, top center, like this. But in my case, I will keep it to the center. Then we can apply a border to the pop-up if you want, and we can apply a border radius. In my case, I will go with a 20 pixel border radius. Or even better, if you're using variables, you can go here and assign a global variable. I'm using them in my website right now, so I will do that. If you want to learn how to create a WordPress website using variables, I'll leave you the link of my full Elementor Pro tutorial down below. Here you can change the box shadow. If you open up here this panel, you can change the color of your box shadow and some other settings like the blur, spread, and so on. Let's say here that I want a lighter color. I can go here, and if I enhance here the blur or the spread, I can see it better. All right. In my case, it will work fine like this. Let's close, and you can go now and edit your overlay. This is pretty powerful and very useful in many cases. You can change it to be a simple classic color or a gradient, or you can even add an image. If I add an image, for example, I can create a beautiful effect. This one, this one, this one. Let's go with this one. As you can see, there is this beautiful effect as a background for your pop-up. And of course, you can place your image differently based on your needs here. But if you want, you can keep it simple and use a simple overlay like this one. Or you can start from one of your palette colors of your global colors, let's say this one, and then you can go and make it a little bit transparent. So that is going to show basically the things that are behind on the page, not hiding them completely. In my case, I will keep it dark, so we'll go with my background dark color, and I will make it a little bit transparent, like this. All right. Then I can go on and customize the close button. I can change the position inside or outside the pop-up. The position inside and outside is not working very well, but keep in mind that if you want to position it outside, you can keep it on inside. As you can see here, nothing changes when I switch it, but you just leave it on inside and you use pixels and then you give a negative value. For example, -20 works fine. And the close button is going to be positioned outside, and -20 here, and it's going to be positioned outside. And you can assign, for example, a white color and so on. As you can see, it's going to work fine like this. In my case, I will keep it simple, so I will leave it as it was before. I will make it 2020 inside. Perfect. The vertical positioning and the horizontal positioning, you can change them if you want to style differently the position of the button. In my case, I will keep them like this. And you can change also the color, the background color, and the hover behavior. And of course, the size. Let's keep it 25 pixels in my case. Oh, a little bit too much. Let's say 20. Then in the Advanced tab, as I was mentioning, there are some very important features. You can decide to show the close button only after a few seconds. You can decide to automatically close the pop-up after a few seconds. This is pretty powerful if you're running a promotion, for example, and you're displaying an opt-in form or a special grab your offer now call to action that will expire maybe after 60 seconds to push your visitors to take action. This works very well in combination maybe with a countdown that you can place inside the pop-up. Here you can prevent closing on overlay. This means that if a user tries to exit the pop-up just by clicking outside on the overlay here, the pop-up won't close. Otherwise, if you do not enable this, if a user clicks here outside the pop-up will be closed. In my case, I will enable this for my example. Then we can choose to prevent closing on escape key. This is also a good solution if you want to prevent this. In my case, I won't do that. You can also disable page scrolling. This means that the user won't be able to scroll the page when the pop-up is active if they try to do that with their mouse. I like to disable it because it makes things a little bit more organized in my opinion, so I will disable this. And you can also avoid multiple pop-ups. This means that this pop-up won't be shown if the user has already seen another pop-up on the same page. So if you want to avoid pop-up clutter, you should enable this if you have multiple pop-ups enabled on your website. Accessible navigation is very important because when a pop-up will be triggered, the first link will be immediately highlighted so that if someone uses keyboard for navigating the website, it will be easy for them to navigate through the pop-up or simply go and close the pop-up with the enter button like this. Easy, right? Then you can also decide if you want to open your pop-up using a specific selector that can be a class or an ID. And then you can assign margin and padding to your pop-up here and a CSS class. If you want, you can then add also your own custom CSS. This was the overview of all the pop-up settings. Then here to the top right, you have all the display conditions, triggers, and advanced rules. These are very important settings that you need to customize when you are choosing where to display the pop-up, to who display the pop-up, and how to display it. Let's make a quick panoramic view of these settings. The first one is display conditions. Basically here you can choose where to display your pop-up, in which pages and in which parts of the website. In the triggers section, we can choose what will be the rule that will trigger the pop-up. For example, on page load, on scroll to element, on click, and so on. We will see all these in the next steps. The advanced rules are pretty powerful because here you can choose when, to who, and how many times show a pop-up to your visitors. We will dive deep here later. Let's close this and let's start designing our pop-up. Now, before diving deep into the design, if you want to use the same templates that you see in this tutorial, I'm going to share them with you for free in my free resources. You will find this template here, this template to create an opt-in bar to the top or to the bottom of your website, like for example we have here on the shop page. And then this small slide-in template that you can apply if you want to highlight some new blog posts, some new offers, or anything you want on your website. It will work exactly as the one that I have on my WP Roads website. There it is. In my free resources, I will also leave you the links to 10 Lottie files animations, like the one that you see right here. To access all these resources, you can head to the link below, which is wproads.com/elepopup. You can subscribe here. You will be receiving my newsletter, and of course you can unsubscribe at any time. And then you can click on subscribe and access now. You will land on the resources page where you find some important links and the link to my Drive folder. Inside the Drive folders, you will find the Lottie files animations and the free pop-up templates. You will just need to download the JSON files and upload them into your Elementor template library. And now let's recreate this beautiful pop-up and let's explore all the advanced functionalities that we can use when we create pop-ups with Elementor. Now let's get started designing. We click on the plus icon here. Great. We select Flexbox or Grid. In my case, I will use Flexbox. And we place the top to bottom direction column. All right. Now the pop-up is empty. Let's add some content inside. The first one, it will be in my case a heading. And I will place here my copy. This is my title. I'm going to leave it H2. And then I'm going to change the style to be centered. And I'm going to change my typography. I'm using global typography here, so I have already prepared this. If you're interested in knowing how you can create a global design system with Elementor, you can head to my link in the description box below. There is a video where I explain to you how to create a full design system with Elementor. All right, now let's go on and let's add a few more elements. The second one, it will be a Lottie file animation. All right. We can drag and drop the Lottie file here. This is very cool because you can create pop-ups like this one here with an animation. And it is always a best practice to put something that is moving inside a pop-up because it can grab the attention and it can, make your visitors read what you're actually trying to ask them to do right now. In my case here, a call to action to subscribe to a free meditation course. So this is the basic Lottie file provided by Elementor. We can click here on the upload file. And in my case, I will leave you in my free resources below a few Lottie files that you can use. So let's select one of the 10 animations that I have provided to you. There's this one, which is all about meditating, but there are also many others if you want to test them. There is this one, the target. There is this animation here. Then we have the fun Christmas tree, which is great. Then you have the funny cat in a box, funny rabbit saying hi, shopping cart, running cat, whatever you want. Go here, you select your animation, and you can use it inside your box. If you want, you can make the animation in loop so that it won't stop. It will just go on in loop like this. You can change the speed, starting point, ending point. You can reverse it, you can render differently, and you can lazy load it. Let's go back here to Lottie. In fact, here I will change it. And I will use the meditation one because I prefer it. And I will make the style a little bit different. I will go and place it at pixels and I will select, let's say 200 pixels. All right. And I will go back to the content and make sure to select here the loop. Beautiful. I really want this to be looped like this. Great. Then I'll go to the advanced tab and make sure to select center. All right. And I will go here and place some more content. My second content will be another heading. I will make it H3 and I will align it to the center. Okay. Actually, I can go and select the main container and make sure that everything is aligned to the center like this also. Great. Let's go back here and I will duplicate this and I will copy my second sentence. This one will be just a simple paragraph and I will go and change the style. And then I will place my call to action. Let's start with a simple button. I'm going to style it. I'm going to add an icon here. Okay, I have my button here and I can simply make it a little bit bigger. Let's do that. And now I just need to add some space in my container. So I go to the container here, I go to the advanced tab and I make sure to add some padding. I will use in my case rem, I will unlink the values here. All right, and I will use some top padding about, let's say 2 rem and bottom padding 2 rem. Looks beautiful, right? Now, let's test this pop-up into my website. I will go and publish this, and it will ask me where I want to display it. I will add a condition. I will suggest you here, while you are testing it, to maybe create a dedicated page or to test it into a page that is not receiving traffic, for example. In my case, I will use a singular page, and it will be, let's say, my front page, because in my case it is just a tutorial website. Now, in order to be able to test it, I need also to select a trigger, of course. So I will go on triggers and use on page load. Let's open up this trigger. I will leave 0 seconds because I'm just testing it, and a save and close. All right, let's reload my page. And after 0 seconds, when the page has been loaded, the pop-up has been triggered correctly. That's exactly what I wanted. Great. It looks perfect, and it respects everything, because if I click outside here, it is not closing. And since I have placed here a button, I can use a link to bring traffic to a specific page, to a specific offer, to a sales page, to an opt-in page, whatever I want. If I want to be smarter, I can also avoid using this X icon here and place a close link below the button. Let's see how this can be achievable. I can go back to my pop-up settings. I can disable the close button, and then I can go and click on the plus icon and add another button. Okay, I will place the second button below the first one, and I will use it to say, for example, no thanks, I don't want to be in peace. This is really aggressive, but it's just a joke to show you how you can use this. So we can go here on the style tab and style the button. I will give it a transparent color, and I will also make the border none. Great. So that it is going to behave like this. And then how can I connect this to the closing of the pop-up? I just need to go to the content and make the link dynamic. So I click on dynamic links, and I will go and scroll until I find pop-up. Actions pop-up. There we are. So we click on actions pop-up, and here we can click on the icon and select an action. The action in this case will be just close pop-up, right? And if I want, I can also tell not to show the pop-up again. Let's do that. Great. Publish. When I go now to my website and I reload the page, I will see that there is no more the X icon here. And if I want to close this button, the only thing that I can do is no thanks, I don't want to be in peace. And if I click on it, the pop-up won't be shown anymore. Now let's go and explore all the display conditions that we have at our disposal. So let's open it up here. Display conditions, here we are. We can basically here choose where to show this pop-up. We can go on the entire website like this. We can choose only the archives of our website, and we can choose all the archives or only specific archives. You see here, post archives, categories, search results, and so on. Or we can go on singular. Here we have basically all the pages that we have on our website, all the posts, all the categories, all the tags, and so on, all the taxonomies and so on. And we even have special pages, like, for example, author pages or 404 pages that are child off or direct child off. So you can get very granular here and choose exactly where you want to show your pop-ups. Then we have as a condition here also WooCommerce, if you're using WooCommerce. This is also pretty cool if you want to target specific WooCommerce pages like the shop page, brands page, product categories, or child brands, or specific products, for example, or specific products that are tagged with something. For example, if I go here, products, I can change to all or specific products if I want to. This is very cool if you are running some offers, for example, only for products that are tagged Black Friday or something like this, and you can show pop-ups like this. Now, in my example, I will keep it simple just in the front page, and I will go and explore with you the triggers. Let's go on triggers. You can easily reach this page here just by going to the top right here and click on triggers. Then we are here, triggers. The first one that we already tested is on page load. This is very simple. You see, you load the page, you visit a page, and the trigger is, in this case, 0 seconds. You can also, just test it, for example, 5 seconds. If I go like this and I save and close, and I go and visit my web page here, let's go into an incognito window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not working. Yes, it is working. And if I want to close it, I need to say, no thanks, I don't want to be in peace. Great, it's working. So let's go back here to our triggers. We then have many other triggers. The first one is the easiest one. Then we have on scroll. Basically, we can trigger the pop-up when a user scrolls, for example, to the 50% of the page, or when it scrolls back up on the page. This is also pretty interesting because it means that maybe someone has been scrolling like this into our page, and when it goes back up, the pop-up will be triggered. This is on scroll to element. This is very interesting. If you have some specific elements, for example, in your templates or on your footer or something, or somewhere in your page where is a crucial part that is a part that might be interesting to trigger a pop-up, you can go like this. Let's create one together. So this is going to be cool. WPR 1, because I already have one, I think. So I enable this, I save and close. I go on my website and I decide that each time a user scrolls until this section here, I want the pop-up to be triggered automatically. So to do that, I need to go like this. I need to open up Elementor in my case and to assign that specific class, the one that I have created here in my triggers. So the WPR Popup 1 class inside my page. Let's go and do that. I scroll to the section. Okay, this is going to be the section that is going to trigger the pop-up automatically. And I'm going to the Advanced tab, and I'm simply going to assign that specific class in the CSS classes. So in my case, it's going to be this one, WPR Popup 1. All right, now when I save and go and visit my page, let's see if it is going to work. Yes, you see, I just scrolled to that section and the pop-up has been triggered automatically. This is pretty powerful in some cases, so it is good to know that we have this trigger. Let's see what else we can do. We can trigger on click. This is pretty not very well explained, I think, because this is the click that happens on a page, basically any click. If I enable this, you see I have the number of clicks, and when a user click one time on a page, the pop-up will be triggered anywhere on the page. Let me show you what happens here. I am on a page, let's say I'm on my home page, and when I simply click on the page, the pop-up is being triggered, you see? I do not know why it is like this, but it is a good trigger. It is always something that you can use if you have some imagination and you are setting up a page where someone clicks anywhere and the pop-up will be triggered. Let's go on exploring all the other triggers that we have here. We have after inactivity, pretty self-explanatory this one. You just choose how many seconds the user is inactive before showing the pop-up. Then we have on page exit intent. This is very powerful in some cases. And if you enable this, basically when a user tries to exit the page, to close the tab or to go away anyway, it will trigger the pop-up. So basically now when a user tries to exit or close your tab, look what happens. The pop-up has been triggered. This is magical, beautiful. The exit intent works very well if you have a specific page where you are promoting something and in the pop-up maybe you're putting an offer or something that the user might be interested before leaving. If you want to launch a pop-up on a click of a button or of a link or of a section or of an image, how you can do that, it is different. It is not here that you can set up those kind of stuff. Let me show you, since we are talking about clicking here, let me show you how you can trigger a pop-up with a button, with an image, or with a link, for example. First use case, how to trigger a pop-up using a button. It's very easy. You select the button. Now I'm going to start from scratch. You see we have a link here, and we just need to click on the dynamic tags. And basically, this is the same procedure that you have to choose if you want to link this pop-up to an image or to a section or to any other element in your Elementor builder. You scroll down until you find pop-up, okay? And then you head to the icon here and you select the action. In our case, we want to open a pop-up, but you can also link the same action to close pop-up or to toggle a pop-up if you're using this, for example, for a close button or a close sentence, as we saw before, and so on. And then we can select which pop-up we want to trigger. In my case, the pop-up tutorial template, which is this one. And when I select this and I simply publish, when I go in the front end, I can scroll down and I can simply click here and the pop-up will be triggered. Perfect. Then let's go and see for the image. It's the same thing. So you simply go here in the link. You see that there is a link section here when you are on the image and you simply select custom URL. Now here you just need to go to dynamic tags as we did for the button. And we scroll down until we find actions, pop-up, and we click on the icon and we go and open the pop-up and we select the pop-up that we want to trigger. In our case, it's the same pop-up tutorial. As you can see now, there is a hover mouse that makes us understand that the image is clickable. And in fact, when I do a test here, I will see that I can click on the image and it's going to trigger the pop-up. I can do the same thing also to an entire section if I want, or to a card like this one. For example, I can link the card to a pop-up or anything else just by doing a little setting, which is when I select my section or my container in this case, I go to the layout tab, I scroll down to additional options, and I enable the link. How you can do that? In general, you are on HTML tag default, but if you want, you can click here and you switch to link. Now that we are on link, we can enable here the same thing. So dynamic tag, actions, pop-up, and we can link the pop-up that we want to open. So in my case, it will be this case the same one. Stay tuned for a second, because when you link a whole section, there might be an error regarding the hover color of your paragraphs and text. So make sure that if you have paragraphs and text inside there, to assign a specific color. As you can see here, I have a specific color, yes, for my text color here, and also on hover if you want to be sure. Same thing for your paragraph. I have assigned in my style a specific color on normal and hover. Otherwise, this color is going to be automatically assigned as your link color. So this is not very cool in some cases. Also, one more important thing, if you're linking a whole section, a whole container, you need to be very careful, as it says also here, not to insert any link inside. In fact, if you add some links inside the container, this will break the layout. So in this case, for example, I have a simple heading, an image, and a paragraph. I do not have any link inside the container because the whole container now, it became a link. Yes, in fact, when I go to the front end and I go and click on the whole container, basically it's going to trigger the pop-up like this. Then we have the advanced rules. Let's dive into the advanced rules. The first rule here is about the number of page views. Basically, if a user sees 3 pages on your website, then the pop-up will be displayed, of course, according to the triggers and conditions that you already have set up. This one is pretty easy to understand. Then we have the show after X number of sections. This one means that each time a user comes to your website and then goes away, closes the tab of your website, and then comes back, this is counted as a session. So a session is I go to WP Roads and then I click on the X icon. This means that this is a session. Then the next day or a few hours later, I go back to WP Roads, this is a second session, and so on. So if you want to show the pop-ups only after, let's say, 3 sessions, after a visitor starts to get engaged with your content, you can do so. It's pretty powerful, this one, as a rule. Then you have show up to number of times. This one is very important. And in general, I always set it up to make my pop-ups not too much annoying. In fact, for example, here you can change this to 1. And you can make it persisting. This means that the rule will be saved inside the user browser, and they will not be based on the session, on the day, or on a single week, or on a month, and so on. And you can count it on open or on close. On close, what does it mean? It means that if the user sees the pop-up 1 time and it closes, it will be saved the fact not to show it anymore. You see, just 1 time. The user closes it, and there's going to be a persisting cookie saved in his or her browser that will say that the pop-up won't be shown no more. If you want, you can increase here. The pop-up is closed 2 times, and then I won't show it anymore. 3 times, and so on. If you want, you can also link this not to the persisting, but also to the single session. So if a user during a single session visits the pop-up and closes 2 times, then I won't show it anymore. Or you can link it to the day. If the users in 1 day visit 2 times and then close it 2 times, it won't be shown, and so on. And you can also change this to be on open. This means that when the pop-up simply appears in front of the person, it will be shown just 2 times in 1 day, or 2 times in 1 week, and so on. So you can get very granular here and specify really, really well what you want your pop-up to do, of course. I will keep it now on nothing because I'm testing it out. And when I arriving, yes, of course, this one is pretty powerful. You can decide to show or hide or use a regex syntax for a specific URL. For example, if you decide to show your pop-up or to hide it only for users that are coming from a specific URL, you can use this rule, and it's very powerful. Let's say that I want to show the pop-up only for users that come from my homepage of my WP Roads website. Each time a user clicks on a link that brings them on my website from wproads.com page, the pop-up will be shown. You see? Pretty easy. But if you want to make it a little bit more complex, you can use regex, and you can ask ChatGPT here if you do not know how to write regex rules. And you can, for example, ask ChatGPT to make a regex rules to include in this URL all the visitors that are coming from any page of your website. It is a pretty complex rule with a strange syntax, which is based, of course, on the regex rules. And you will copy and paste it here. And basically, each time a visitor comes from that specific website, in my example, wproads.com, will be shown the pop-up. You can ask, create a regex rule that includes any page of wproads.com. And look at it, match any page on wproads.com. And I'll simply go here and copy it here. And if this is enabled and saved, basically when a user comes from any page of my website, they will be shown the pop-up. Let's go on now and explore all the other settings we have show when arriving from. This one is easier because we can set up some predefined rules. For example, if someone comes from a search engine like Google or DuckDuckGo or anything like this, or if someone arrives from an external link or from an internal link, you can decide here which of these rules you want to apply, and then you can enable them. All right, then we can hide for logged in users, and we can also choose all logged in users or some specific user roles. For example, I want to hide these pop-ups only for editors and administrators. Then we can decide on which devices we want to show these pop-ups. For example, sometimes there are some pop-ups that are not looking very good on mobile, or vice versa, we do not want to show them on desktop. We can disable or enable them right here. Here we can get really specific about the browser that the user is using when we want to show the pop-up. For example, if you want to show a pop-up only to users that are using Chrome, because maybe you are sponsoring or promoting an extension, a Chrome extension, for example, you can do like this. Then we have a scheduled date and time. This one is very important if you're running some specific promotions and special offers, for example, during Black Friday and so on. And you can change also the time zone to be the visitor one or the site one. Then you can choose the starting date and the ending date, and the pop-up will be shown only into this specific date and time range. Save and close. As you can see, the Elementor Popup Builder is very, very, very powerful. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up right now and comment down below giving me your feedback on the pop-ups that you have created following the video. Also, if you have some topics that you want me to explore in my next videos, feel free to share them with me down below. Now, I will leave you here 2 videos that I think that you might be interested in. The first one is all about creating mobile optimized menus using Elementor off-canvas widget. And the second video is a review and tutorial on how to set up Cookiebot to make your website compliant with data regulation throughout the world. My name is Pascal, this is WP Roads, and I wish you all the best with all your WordPress projects.